Okay, good morning, everyone. It is um, Thursday, April the 23rd, and it's about 11:03 a.m. in the morning. And I know that the lecture generally takes place at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, but I needed to record this earlier today for you uh, because I had a death in the family. I lost um, my brother-in-law suddenly last night, and I've got a lot of stuff to do today. So I didn't know if I would get back home to my office by tonight. So I thought I'd record this now. So I'm going to start out by sharing my screen, and you can see that this is, let me make sure that I'm sharing this right. Let me go back so that, because otherwise you may not see it. Let me go to, I know I'm not doing this right, so let me go back to, okay, now let's go back to sharing my screen here. Now you should be able to see this, and you know all the information up here. I am reminding you to make sure that you put citations in the body and references at the end. And so this is our week 3 lecture. Our next lecture will be week 5, and I'll comment about the assignments for week 4 and week 5 before I sign off. And then, okay, so let's take a look at our week 3 announcement. So this week we're dealing with diversity in criminal justice, and module 3, there is, of course, as you know, no textbook involved in this. And then there is a discussion assignment, which I will share with you in just a few minutes. And you know the deadline for the discussion post, the initial posts were due Tuesday night, and then the reply posts, of course, are due Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Finally, complete the written assignment, local ethics. Many of you have um, started um, submitting that information. So make sure that you complete that for this week. And then you know what my motto is all about. Here is the course calendar. Let's go over that a second. And here it is. This is where we are now. Of course, as I said, your initial post will due Tuesday, and um, working with diverse co-workers and clients. And then your live lectures now. And then your reply post that took place 25th. And then your written assignment that I have the rubric in, and we'll go over that. And that's local ethics for week 3. Okay, and then we'll deal with week 4, and I'll deal with week 5 as well, since there is no lecture there. So let's go to the module. Take a look at the assignments again. So your written assignment, local ethics, is the relationship between diversity and ethics. And so you're going to um, uh, utilize how criminal justice professionals operate ethically and with diversity, and answer these questions, and support your answers with relevant research, providing citations in the body and references at the end, submitting a Word document that's 1 to 2 pages long, double spaced, and it says also you may include an example from the media which supports your answer, but be sure to do your proper spelling. And be sure to draw upon local information where you live or plan to reside during your career. So that's one of the things that you want to make sure you do. All right. The rubric, click on that, and it tells you for 15 points what to do. All right. And then for the 10 points, make sure that it's 1 to 2 pages at least, double space. Make sure you have citations and references and use credible resources. But describe the future of criminal justice as relates to diversity. As we've talked about diversity previously during the week one, because we deal with that in terms of our transferable skills. And so include some demographic and other data that you might find from your area in your paper. Okay. So let's exit that. Okay, and then we come back and we deal with the assignment discussion, working with diverse co-workers and clients, and then your live key phrase that I'm going to give you at the end here. So that's it for week 3. So let's talk about the topic of dealing with diversity. So diversity is very important when it comes to criminal justice because, first of all, you're going to work with people from various backgrounds, various cultures, various religious beliefs, sexual preferences, and you're also going to, in turn, as a criminal justice professional, come into contact with individuals from various backgrounds and cultures, religions. And as it is important for you to be able to respond in a professional manner when dealing with individuals who are different from you. If there's a language barrier, you will need someone to interpret. But in the meantime, you still need to be able to operate professionally. I have encouraged my students to be able to be bilingual, and Spanish is the chosen language that I keep sharing because the fastest growing population in the United States of America, bar none, are Hispanic people. And so it is important for you to recognize that. But the word diverse means that multiple um, um, types of people. And we're a melting pot in this country. And so there are people who have come to America from all parts of the world and are citizens and naturally born here. People celebrate holidays differently. People do a lot of different things, not to mention the various languages that are spoken in this world that end up in this country. So as a criminal justice professional, when you come into contact with someone who's different from you, you need to make sure that you maintain your professionalism and keep your mind open in terms of dealing with them. Just because somebody looks different from you on the outside, one thing they'll have in common with you is that they all have red blood. Now, I know that my nurse friends and medical assisting friends have told me that actually the blood is blue. I say, but when I see it and it hits the oxygen, it is red. So you need to be cognizant of, of that. And just because you don't understand someone does not mean there's something wrong with them because they're from a different culture. So in our module for this week, we want to make sure that your research based upon the written assignment that you're dealing with your discussion posts, deal with working with us as co-workers and clients. Well, actually, In our case here, it could be, if you're in law enforcement, it could be a suspect. It could be a person working on the team, maybe a detective, maybe a forensics person, maybe an attorney, a judge, or a probation officer, or a parole officer, or a corrections officer, or a jail officer. The point of the matter is that you're going to have people who approach things differently based upon um, who they are. And so the key factor is professionalism and respect. Time and time and time again, we're going to remind you about the importance of operating in that fashion. So now let's talk a little bit about the relationship between ethics and diversity. Um, Recognizing what I had said previously, you must always make the decision to operate ethically. That is to do the right thing, to respect individuals' constitutional rights, to respect the legal rights that individuals have in performing your jobs. You must make sure that you um, work towards, as I say, um, effectuating a positive image from the community to those who work in various areas, specifically in law enforcement, who are the frontline people that are in contact in criminal justice with individuals. And you must operate, as I said before, ethically and professionally, and utilize the knowledge that you've gained through your education in class and experiences as a person outside of class. Do not allow your prejudices to enter into the decisions that you make. Do not find yourself in situations where you are doing something that violates the rules or the professional responsibility of whatever type of area that you're working in just to satisfy a peer. It can get you uh, landed in jail. It can also cost you the ability to be able to operate in your chosen field, whether it's law enforcement, corrections, whether it's probation, parole, any of those areas that you find yourself working in, jails or either correction facilities, also known as prisons, and the whole 9 yards. And so you're going to do some research about the demographics and statistical data involved in your areas that you work in to see um, people that you work with are different, but also to recognize and see some of the errors that people have made operating unethically. Many of you who will write local ethics papers will be able to respond to that issue in your written assignments. Finally, identify the current state of diversity of criminal justice professionals. I can tell you that when I first came out of high school, which was in 1969, diversity in criminal justice professionals, from law enforcement to probation officers to parole officers to correction officers and other areas in criminal justice, did not look very diverse. In fact, there were individuals who have um, reached a stage now where they will tell you that back in the days when they were first starting out in their areas, particularly if they were minorities, that they were subjected to um, um, ridicule, joking, and all kinds of racial remarks and things of that nature. But due to litigation that took place in many areas, in law enforcement, in the EMTs, in firefighters, and in other areas of criminal justice, the tide has begun to change, and that many jurisdictions now are hiring individuals to connect with the community where where they serve or operate. It is a proven fact that individuals who are served in a community appreciate being able to see people that look like them, or act like them, or respond like them. Not because of the fact they want favoritism, but it's just part of human nature. That is not to say that people who are not of the same persuasion should not be placed in those areas, because the key thing is that with diversity as an important factor, that we learn to build ourselves as individual professionals in criminal justice based upon the differences that people bring to the table, and being able to respect those individuals in the situations where they find themselves. So it is no doubt that the current state of diversity is heading in a positive direction. Um, there are, I remember when I, as a kid, wanted to become a lawyer, and one of the pathways that I wanted to take was to go through the FBI. And so when I was in high school, I applied formally for the FBI. And when I applied for the FBI, there was also a Caucasian classmate in high school with me, and we both, felt that we would see each other in the FBI. Well, he made it in, and I was rejected. It would be brought to my attention years later with a letter of apology from the Federal Bureau of Investigation that during the time when I applied while I was in high school, that the director, J. Edgar Hoover, was summarily dismissing applications of females and minorities, particularly African Americans at that time. And so the agency didn't reflect a very diverse population. Well, down through the years, they have changed that. I know many males of various backgrounds and cultures and beliefs who are FBI agents, or have been FBI agents, and or worked in Secret Service, and now we have the Homeland Security and other agencies where criminal justice professionals operate on the federal level. Of course, in the state level as well, and the municipal level, there's been movement to hire individuals. I remember at one time that Mexicans had a hard time becoming police officers because of the height restrictions that they had, and the weight restrictions that they had. And so they did away with those kinds of things. And now you see law enforcement or police officers. I have a cousin who is a sergeant in Chicago Police Department, and I have a niece who is a sergeant in the police department. And I know many females who have gone through and become very successful in law enforcement, in corrections, in probation, and as parole officers. And so um, I would say that we're pointing in the right direction, not just because of the law that's changing, but because there's recognition that in order to connect the community with the areas in criminal justice, that there need to be people who are from various backgrounds. So it's very important, and it's a thing that we cannot put aside, because you deal with it every day in your work. And that's what I wanted to say today about diversity. Now, I am going to um, give you what's going to take place in week number 4, and then I'm going to give you the key word, which you should already know the key word, but I'm going to just go over the assignments. So for week 4, you're going to conduct independent research with 3 different criminal justice agencies, and in a 2-page to 3-page paper. Remember, it's not 1 to 2, it's 2 to 3. Describe the process for hiring, include the name of the agency, as well as the website or source that you get the information from, and submit your papers double spaced, with the cover page, with APA, that is citations in the body and references at the end. And it's very important. So let's take a look at the rubric. Pretty self-explanatory, actually. And it's straightforward. And then it deals with the content. And remember, it's 2 to 3 pages, not 1 to 2. And then your APA stuff. That's what you want to be able to provide. Now, of course, you know, with any of your assignments that it has the due date in there already, which is May 3rd, which is a special day for me. And then you want to be able to reach out to me. You know the rules in terms of that. So now let's go and let's take a look at the next assignment. And that's your job research, your discussion post, the strategies you use in preparing for a job application interview, and provide in detail in your initial post and then your reply post. And according to the calendar, you know the due dates for those things. And then that's it for week number 4. All right. So you're going to be pretty much dealing in week number 4 your research methods for job readiness. Remember what I said at the beginning of this course, that this course is almost like an independent studies course, and that you are preparing yourself for your job that you want to work in. And so you want to make sure that you do that for this weekly module, week 4. All right. Finally, week 5, because of the fact that now we are in a area of technology. When I came out of law school in 1978, technology was not a big thing, but now there are various technological advances that exist. And so you're going to research and present some. They give a few, like electronic surveillance, GPS, body cams, other diversionary programs. There's the DNA, which is not mentioned in here, and utilizing um, um, social media as well to be able to provide that. Remember, in a 2 to 3 page paper with APA formatted citations, starting from the 1800s up to now, how technological advances have benefited and made it possible for you as a professional in criminal justice to be able to perform your job and duties. And again, check the rubric, and the first section gives you everything that you need to know. And then this is the basic stuff, tells you the page content as well as APA. A lot of you guys lose points because you don't satisfy APA. Okay, so that's that assignment. And then you have um, your discussion posts, pros and cons of technological advances, and you know it tells you. Um, so be sure to follow all of the requirements in this written assignment. In regards to what it says, discussion is a debate regarding the pros and cons of technological advances. And then choose a side, pro or con, for a particular issue or technological um, advance that you want to discuss. And then you'll be assigned two issues. One will be pro and the other is con. So for your response, um, deal with a con in somebody else's post. Of course, you know the due date is Tuesdays and then Saturdays. And then regarding the fieldwork progress report, remember what I said. There's no field work that's taking place. It's a research project. And so what you're going to do is give me a status in a 1 to 2 page paper, a summary of how much work you have completed towards the research in your dream job or the area you want to work in. And include sources that you've discovered from your research or experiences, whether it's in work experience, things of that nature. Make sure you have citations in the body and references at the end. So I repeat, you will be graded not on a field project, but on the research project, which I referred to during week 1. All right. And that's it for week 5. Of course, you know, any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I will be happy to provide you with support as I normally do to make sure that you have exactly what you need. So all minds being clear, keep me in your prayers. And again, if you need me, you know the rule. And it's nothing changed with what I'm dealing with. I just want to make sure that whatever it is that you guys need, that you're able to reach out to me. So with that, I'm going to say good afternoon. I normally say good night. I will see you next in lecture during week 6. Okay. So stay safe out there and continue to do the excellent work that each of you are all capable of doing. And again, I'm here for you. Good afternoon.